Welcome to our Remembrance video. Next week is my grandma's 98th birthday, and I'll be going to the care home to see her and celebrate this fantastic milestone. And we'll discuss, no doubt, among other things, her memories of her time during the Second World War. She grew up in Norwich, and she tells me that as a late teenager, early 20s young adult, she worked in munitions factories that were now where a retail park is opposite Norwich's football ground, just by Carrow Road there, making various bits and pieces to support in the war effort. And then in the evenings, she would be part of an air raid patrol where she would go out and particularly look for incendiaries that were being dropped on houses and buildings by German bombers and alert the authorities to them so they could be removed before they set fire to anything. And whenever I listen to my grandma, it blows my mind about the impact that this had on so many young people at the start of their lives, not knowing when any day might be their last, and to families whose sons and daughters are involved in the war effort and they may get bad news at any time. Now, my grandma hasn't left her care home now for more than 2 years, and we are facing our own crisis at this time. That's meant that we're not able to have our remembrance service here in school as a live event and invite members of the community along to it. So we've decided to produce this video, which hopefully will go to a really wide audience in and around our community, so that they can share with us some memories, some thoughts, and share with us some of the ways in which our school recognises, remembers and celebrates the many people and their many efforts in the many conflicts that have taken place that people are aware of at this time. So please settle back and enjoy and celebrate with us the efforts of the Baysgarth students and staff as we remember, recognise our remembrance service today.
Now come the soldier, something is his sword. He will say, "Oh, sit down, hallay, hallay, halloo, hallay, 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 halloo." He will take your seat down, hallay, hallay, halloo. Now come the poet, whose open is his tone. He will slay you in his town, hallay, hallay, halloo, hallay, 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 halloo. He will say you sit down, hallay, hallay, halloo. Come this poet, whose weapon is his sword. He will slay you with his tongue, hallay, hallay, halloo, hallay, 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 halloo. He will slay you with his tongue, hallay, hallay, halloo, hallay, 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 halloo. He will slay you with his tongue, hallay, hallay, halloo. Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row that mark our place and in the sky.
The larks still bravely sing and fly, the skies heard amid the guns below.
We are the dead, shot days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields.
Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you your failing hands we throw, the torch be yours to hold it high. If you break faith for us who die, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
We have 3 men suffering from shock. One is stone deaf. The other is not deaf but cannot speak and has a nervous tremor. We still have 8 men left from the wounded convoy. One, who has had his right arm and left foot amputated for gas gangrene, has now gone mad from septic poisoning. There are 2 others, abdominal injuries, who I think will surely die.
One of the abdominal cases asked me to help him write a letter to his fiancée. He asked if I could write that it would soon be better. I told him the truth. He simply said that he would trust himself to God. These dying men are so very tired and do not seem to mind the thought of dying if it means some rest.
Wednesday, June the 7th. Total battalion casualties for Sunday, 120. The roll call this morning was somewhat pathetic. Each time a name was called out and no one answered, we had to say if we'd seen the fellow killed or know if he was wounded.
Heavy bombardment at around 11 a.m. Heard a fearful crash. The next dugout to ours blown to blazes, and our physical drill instructor, Sergeant Horton, with it. I tried to dig him out, but it was too late. He departed this life. Our first experience of death. I'm tired out, sick of everything.
Our own killed and wounded was bad enough, but the enemy's losses were terrible. They lay one on top of the other and some of them were torn to shreds. Different limbs laying all over the place, a dreadful sight. Men walked along in a daze, spattered with mud and blood. None had washed or shaved. The last 2 days of slaughter and nerve-shaking brought a strained look to most of their faces. Harry Stinton's 7th London Regiment.
The battlefields we passed over had plenty of dead laying on them, and some gruesome sights we saw. Groups of men armed with picks and shovels were laying the dead on them, and first checking the identification disc from the body.
Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
Remembrance Day is a day that we use to remember those who died for us and our freedom. Different people reflect in different ways. Some of the ways us as a school remember is by doing our 2-minute silence at 11 AM and by creating poppies. Another way people remember is by laying poppy wreaths at war memorials.
you.